Hello, Namaste. My name is Nidhina Gori and welcome back to my channel. Now this week we are covering the Canada immigration. I've been getting a lot of questions about my experience and how the whole immigration process is. How does express entry really work? Is permanent residence a scam or does it actually happen? All of that has already been covered in video number 1, so make sure you check it out. I'm dropping the link in the description box down below. This video, I'm going to be taking specific questions that I've been getting from you guys. I put out a post a couple days back on LinkedIn and I got a lot of questions. So this one's going to be a separate video on its own where I'm taking all your questions head on. Before we move on into all the details and all the questions, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up down below. If anything is left out or if you have any specific questions, make sure you drop them in the comments below as well. Share this video with a friend and subscribe to my channel for all the good stuff that is coming your way. Also, for all the madness and BTS, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The link is right here. And now, because everything is done and all the intro is over, let's go and head on to your questions straight away. Okay, so like I mentioned, I already got a bunch of questions on a post that I posted on LinkedIn a couple of days back. And so I'm taking some of those questions here. Also, I'm going to be adding some questions that I keep getting on and off, which are general questions that a lot of people keep asking me. And I'm going to be answering all of them for you. So let's go. Question number 1. This is from Rashesh Mandavia. How do you survive in any new country you go to? I know you are a very experienced person, but as a beginner, or as less experienced, what should one do if he changes the country and how to manage and survive? That's a great question. Thank you so much, Rashesh. What I really advise is that if you are an immigrant and if you're considering immigration at some point in your life, make sure you get to learn about the culture. Make sure you come in knowing that this is not going to be a very easy process. My first experience of immigrating was actually from India to the US, and I was very scared because a lot of people spoke about culture shock. Honestly, that did not really happen to me, but things were very, very different from where I came from. I've also made a video about how the work culture in India and the work culture in North America was completely different. So it did take me a lot of time to understand that there are boundaries in conversations here and that, your colleagues are not really your friends, etc., etc. What I do advise is that please read up on the country that you're going to. Watch any movies from those countries to make sure that you understand the culture a little bit more. Give yourself the first 4 to 5 months to sink into the system. Make sure you're trying and going out to a coffee shop, maybe once in a week or something, if you are tight on your budget, that is, so that you can go in, have a conversation with someone local and get a hang of the culture that is around. In the end, you have to come knowing that this is not going to be an easy process. It's never been an easy process for any one of us. This is going to be difficult, but it's also going to be life-altering because the perspective that you're going to gain from being from two different countries, or from being in one country and having been brought up in another country, is extremely wide and diverse, and that is your USP and your big selling point. Question number 2, which I think a lot of people have asked me: opportunity for finance professionals in Canada. Now, I do end up saying this in a lot of my interviews and webinars, that golden rule of accounting doesn't change. Always remember that there are certain basics that don't change across borders. For example, if you were to debit bank for money coming in India, you would still debit bank for money coming in Canada as well. So there are a lot of opportunities, and you are already technically skilled. If you have your basics in place, your technical skills have to be in place. So make sure that you're very focused on your basics. In terms of whether there are opportunities or not, I highly recommend looking up places and platforms like LinkedIn, Indeed, and Glassdoor. These give a very good idea of what kind of opportunities are available. And I'm sure once you start checking them out, you'll realize that there are actually a lot of opportunities that are available. You just have to make sure that your skill matches onto these jobs that are available here. Question number 3, this is from Prachi Mohan Srivastav. Could you please cover top skills courses for freshers who are looking to work abroad or take projects abroad? Prachi, amazing question, and thank you so much for it. What I do want to tell is that if you're a fresher, make sure you're investing a lot in putting yourself out there and investing a lot in getting the right set of communication skills. The biggest gap that I've seen in people coming in from countries like India or South Asia in general, and these people immigrating to North America, the biggest gap that we've seen collectively has been in their communication skills. So make sure that your communication skills are right on point, that you are able to be polite for the people here to have a conversation with you, that you are okay with the small talk. that you're well versed with the kind of conversation that people here enjoy having or are used to having. And that's going to give you a very good stepping stone to start good and intelligent conversations. And once you're able to have a good conversation, really it's about converting them. So I wouldn't say that there is any top software that is required, but really what you really need is good communication skills and communication skills that align with North America. The next question is from Saraswati V. Hi ma'am, I'm one of your recent followers. Can you guide professionals from non-finance background who want to move to Canada from India if they are planning for a career change? How and all what should be they prepared for? I don't think there is any separate process for non-finance professionals. I do think that the process remains the same for professionals overall. But if you are planning for a career change, I would highly recommend that make sure you do some kind of research, studying around it, to make sure that you are a right candidate when you come and enter the North American markets. You do want to be well aware and you want to be well read about what the requirements are in North America for the particular career change that you're opting for. Next one is from Ashve Jogani. Hey Nidhi, I want to ask, what were the major unexpected challenges faced there? What is it one should not miss out while considering to move to Canada? That is such a smart question. I do think that there is a lot of focus on the money that you make here, but I do want to say that Canada is more for quality of life. You won't be making a lot of money here. Yes, most people live average lives. There are exceptions. People are going to have businesses and there are always going to be revolutionary businessmen and entrepreneurs around you. But in general, I see a lot of people keep asking about package and expenses, etc. Canada has higher taxes. It also has the benefits with it. And so I do not mind paying those taxes at all. But I know some people have a different outlook to it. So make sure that you come in understanding that this is not going to be a very easy cakewalk process. And it's not going to be a lot of money right in the beginning. Also, you're going to be missing family and home food a lot. So make sure that you learn cooking pretty well and you get your mom's taste a little bit in the food that you learn to cook. The next one is from Mahima. Which country do you like most, Canada? So Mahima, honestly, both countries have their pros and cons. Personally, I do feel that I cannot choose between India and Canada because they really are at the same level for me. Professionally, I'll be honest, I do like Canada a lot more. I've only worked in India for 2 years. I've been working in North America for the last 4.5 years, so it's been very long. The first 2 years in India, and I'd also done my articleship, so I'd worked in India for about 5 years. I probably don't have a lot of good, I don't have good memory in general because I don't remember. A lot of those things have been overwritten by my experience in North America, but I do not remember feeling so valued, respected, and important in India. So I do feel that working in Canada professionally, it does feel like it's better for me, but I'm sure it works differently for different people. And personally, like I said, I cannot pick at all. I love both the countries. A lot of you have also asked about how can Indian CAs move to Canada. Well, I do strongly advise that you do CPA Canada if you are considering to move to Canada at all. I've also made a video on that. If you guys know, there is an MOU with the CPA Canada program here. So it's a pretty straightforward process. And I've done a video with somebody who's gone through that process. So make sure you check the video out. I'm going to be adding the link in the description box below. That definitely is my biggest advice that I can give you. Also, a lot of you also asked me about doing US CPA when you're coming to Canada. Honestly, I did US CPA when I was working in the US. And I still work for the same employer and the same team. So you have to think about it logically. Do you really think that moving to Canada and doing a US CPA makes sense? How do you explain it to an employer? If I'm an employer and if I'm recruiting someone and somebody comes and tells me, oh, I'm from India and I moved to Canada, but I've done US CPA, please try to connect the dots and think if it makes sense. No, right? Because if you've not done anything in the US, if you've not worked in the US, if you always wanted to move to Canada, why would you not consider doing CPA Canada? A lot of people ask me, well, because US CPA is easier and it takes lesser amount of time. I want to say that's not true. I do feel that CPA Canada and CPA US are similar, and I do think that CPA Canada takes way lesser time. It's lesser number of exams and definitely lesser amount of pressure as well. So if you are considering a move to Canada, please consider doing Canadian CPA over US CPA, because you will not need it to get the first job maybe, but you need it for career progression, and US CPA will not help you get there. You will have to get a Canadian CPA at some point in your life. The next question is from Sunny. What would you see as opportunities for guys who are dealing in capital market back in India? Do we have any scope as a financial advisor there? Please throw some light on it. I'm not somebody who is from this field, so I will not be able to help you with the details technically, but I would say that there are opportunities because I've seen people do it. Rahul is asking how to make connections and how to find jobs, etc. Well, I do think that to make connections, and if you're considering moving to Canada or any other country in general, I would really recommend using LinkedIn to its maximum potential. That is probably one of my mistakes. One of my earliest mistakes that I made was that I did not really know that LinkedIn is so widely used in North America. LinkedIn is a major source of recruitment, finding talent, finding collaborators, etc. So please make sure that you use LinkedIn and use it wisely. Use it the right way. Don't use it for silly videos and posting illogical stuff. Please use it the right way, and the platform really has a lot of potential. Abhik is asking me about opportunities for people who've done MBA Finance. I've known people from a wide spectrum in finance. I've known CA, CS, CFA, MBA Finance, FRM. So I've known a lot of people, and I've known that eventually they all do find opportunities. So Abhik, if you're worried about whether you're going to find jobs as an MBA Finance or not, for sure you will. You probably see a lot of posts about CA and CPA on my profile only because that is my field and that is where I'm from. But I've always seen people find jobs. So don't worry, Abhik. Anthony is asking me about covering CPA after completing ACCA. I know there is an MOU or MRA. I'm not sure what it is, but there is some arrangement between CPA Canada and ACCA. I don't know the exact terms of it, but I know there are some people who've gone in and taken a CPA certificate after their ACCA. So there is a pathway from ACCA to CPA Canada. And to the last question, a lot of people keep asking me what are the softwares, what are the skills, etc. What I would really say is there is no real software or skill or degree that can get you to any place in Canada or in the US in general. From my own personal experience, I've always seen that people who've done well have been the ones who've got their basics in place. So please get your technicals and your basics in place. It doesn't matter what degree you have. You could have a CA or a CS in India. I've personally had a CA and I've been able to find amazing opportunities in the US. Definitely Canada is a little more heavy on the certification part, but I wouldn't say that is what you need to get an entry-level position. To get an entry-level job, you will always be able to do that if your technicals are strong, if your basics are strong. For career progression, you do need a local certification. So make sure that you keep that at some point. You have to do that, keep it in the back of your mind to complete a local certification. But in general, if there's one skill that you really need to focus on professionally, has to be your technical skill. And if there's one skill that you need to focus on body language wise, it has to be a communication skill. Woo, that was a lot of questions. I hope this video helped you guys. And if it did, please let me know in the comments below. Make sure you drop all your remaining questions in the comments. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, whatever be your dreams, may you always dream it and may you always live it. Take care. Much love. Namaste.